We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, all you fishing freaks out there on YouTube and Facebook, Alive Land. My name is Tyler Waller. The other fella you see, the better looking, more educated version over there is JR. And we have a very special guest for you this evening. JR, who we got for him?
Thankfully, we have got the very talented Matt Messer fresh off his win. Everybody should be here listening to him, and hopefully he'll drop some knowledge on us and teach us how we can get to the classic like he's getting ready to get to.
Yes, just a quick thing. Last week, if you guys missed the live, we talked to Chris Ferguson, who is the Grand Poobah, the guy in charge, or the guy that basically started casting for kids. We had an awesome conversation with him last week about casting for kids, some new things that are coming out for casting for kids you don't want to miss. You can go back and check out any live that we have out on Facebook. Just recently hit 4,400 subscribers on YouTube, which is a huge accomplishment. I'm looking for those 5,000 subscribers. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube already, I would appreciate you doing that. Last place finisher in River at Cole. Hey man, at least you swung, right? That's right. Big night. Cole Willis. But anyway, without further ado, guys, I want to bring on Mr. Matt Messer, and we are going to talk really quickly about him, but I will give you just a random spiel here, and we'll let Matt give him his story because, again, we'd all like to know it. But Matt just recently finished up the leader and top qualifier, top finisher in the Bassmaster Open at the Harris Chain of Lakes. And he qualified for the Bassmaster Classic. And we were talking for the past 5 minutes before the show, talking about what the Bassmaster Classic is and what it means to him. But Matt, for the viewers out there watching us, give us a little bit about yourself.
Matt Messer from Warfield, Kentucky, a little small place over here, and grew up fishing my whole life. I mean, since I was born, that's always been my favorite thing. I've either been fishing or deer hunting somewhere, and ended up getting an opportunity to try to chase the dream a little bit in college, and then it led to the Opens, and here we are.
Yeah, what college did you fish for?
Kentucky Christian.
Kentucky Christian. That's cool.
Out there in Grayson, right?
Yep.
Nice, not too staying around where you're really close to us then at Kentucky Christian. When you go right down 64, about 10 miles, and you're dang near in our backyard. Actually, you would be in JR's backyard.
Yeah. Did you ever catch 26 pounds at Grayson, or?
No, not quite.
No, I never caught 26 pounds. I did catch 21 pound there one day. Me and Kyle, that was like ultimate day. It was crazy. But so Matt, take us through it. You've been fishing the Opens, and we talked about it before the show. The Bassmaster Opens now have kind of put the kibosh or the handcuffs on people like myself that try to fish and have another career. And it's not that you can't have another career, but I'm just saying that there's so much time you have to fish. It used to be back in the day, you could fish one Open. It didn't matter what Open it was. You could pay your money, your entry fee. And again, like we were talking about before the show, it's not chump change at all. It's a ton of money. So you could go pay your entry fee. And if you were lucky enough to win that thing, you would get qualified for the Bassmaster Classic. And they have changed that to where you have to be super dedicated to the Opens. And that is fishing. What is there? Is there 9 Opens or?
Yep.
9 different Opens. And you can't, you have to fish all of them to even be qualified if you win one. So not only do you have to spend all this money to fish 9 tournaments, you also have to, be good enough to win a tournament. And he's done that. So Bassmaster Classic, Super Bowl bass fishing. I asked him, has it sunk in yet? And he says, probably not. But when during the tournament this past week, did you know that you had this thing won?
I didn't. Going into the tournament, I wasn't really on nothing. Last day of practice, I kind of just went scrambling and had about an hour left to practice, and I caught like a 5 on a buzzbait, and then go down to Kissimmee line a little bit farther and catch 3 on a buzzbait. So I went off water, and I was like, whatever, I'm going to go throw a buzzbait all day. No one else to do at that point. And so really I blasted off in the tournament not knowing what was going to happen. I was really kind of in the situation that I wanted to get a check and get out of there. Like, and even coming in at the end of the tournament, like whenever I checked in on day 2, I didn't think I was going to win, which I knew that there was a shot, but I actually had more than what I thought I had. I never weighed my fish. I like to be surprised, but really didn't think I had it locked up.
What was your big fish for the week?
714.
That's a stud, man.
And then your brothers.
Yeah, he beat me.
Yeah, you got the final call on that though, didn't you?
Yeah, he couldn't let me get off.
Yeah. Well, you're fishing with some big names, and definitely something that, of course, everybody that has YouTube and is interested. Ben Milliken was in there. Did you have any interaction with him or?
Yeah, Milliken's super cool dude. I talked to him a little bit. Seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
He just qualified for the elites, right?
Yep.
That's awesome. Corey Weaver in the house. Corey says that you have to fish all 9 to qualify for the elites. You only have to fish 1 division, 3 tournaments, and win to qualify for the classic. Which still, 3 tournaments is a ton. But the cool thing about this is that we were talking. I made a joke before the show. You guys didn't hear it obviously because we weren't live. But so Matt is from a roundabout area from 2 giant. One guy's a country star, the other guy's a folk singer star. He's within like 30 miles of a place that Chris Stapleton, who I'm sure you guys will all know, and Tyler Childers, who I'm sure you guys have all heard of. So Inez, Kentucky, you're down there close. Now has Tyler Childers. They have Chris Stapleton, and now we have Matt Messer, Bassmaster Classic qualifier, and
soon to be champion.
Yeah, what's it? So the Bassmaster Classic is it's a career change. It's a life change. It's not just a career change. It's a life-changing win. They claim that it's upwards of $1 million with contingencies and things that you win with the Bassmaster Classic. Where we talked about it before the show. $10,000 is what you place if you place very last. Like you fish the first 5 minutes of the tournament, and something happens where you can't fish the rest of the tournament, which would be, catastrophic.
Brutal.
You're making $10,000. So going out, knowing that you're going to make $10,000, you made a comment earlier that you think that it's going to allow you to fish to win. Explain that a little bit.
I mean, I really can't suck that bad. If I come out there 0, I'm going to win 10 grand, and I love to fish to win anyways, regardless of the situation. So, I mean, it's kind of going to suit me. Worst come to worst, I made the classic and sucked. But best case scenario, I go swinging for 5 and I win the Joker. So that's the plan. I mean, I can't stomach to fish to get second. It's just not in me.
Yeah, and that would be kind of like my thoughts too. Is like, it's probably not going to be the case for you because obviously you're a hammer and you're catching fish. But knowing for me, if I was in that situation where it may be a one and done thing, that I would want to leave everything on the table, and I wouldn't want to be like what ifs. You know what I mean?
Oh man, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, I win 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, we have another guy here, Matt Strickland, who said just what's up. Is another local guy. He's a high school student that just qualified for the BFL regional at the Potomac and qualified for the All-American, which is pretty daggone cool. He's from Wheelersburg.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by hammers. We got the guy who finished last in the River Rat. We got Matt Messer, the Bassmaster Classic soon-to-be champion, we hope. So the real question is here, Matt. I'm a musician. JR is a music head as well. We have to ask, what's going to be your come out song in the Bassmaster Classic, man?
Dude, I've been trying to decide this for like 8 years.
He's been dreaming about it.
Every time I listen to a song, I'm like, it'd be cool to go out to the Classic. And I've got a few. It's I don't know. I'm looking through a bunch of them. I listened to My World probably 1,500 times.
Oh man.
I don't know. There's a bunch of options to pick from. Excited.
Yeah. So I was going to say, it's a shame that you're an Abu guy because my world fits perfect if you were a Shimano guy. But going out there swinging for the fences in the with the Garcias in your hand, talking about having a Shimano and G Loomis, probably a conflict of interest, isn't it?
Yeah, my dude not so subtly dropped the fish to win out there in there. I just caught that. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Cole Will says a similar as Grand sets up like Yatesville. I see a good finish about to happen at the Classic.
It's I've been to Oklahoma twice, and I haven't fished Grand, but I fished Eufaula and Fort Gibson, and they both set up like Yatesville. Like I went down there and done the same thing I've been doing back home. They're just bigger. So I mean, I don't know for sure what Grand's going to be like, but it seems Oklahoma really seems to favor Eastern Kentucky a lot. So I'm kind of pumped for that. I feel like I'm going to be able to fish in my comfort zone, go do what I want to do, power fish, and swing for them.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. So you mentioned in the actually, I saw it on a Facebook post of yours today. You caught most of your fish on, was it a 1/4 ounce buzzbait?
I weighed some on 1/4 ounce.
And then you were throwing a 3/4 ounce. You were flipping and pitching with a 3/4 ounce. Was it a Texas rig or what were you throwing?
Yeah, it was a Texas rig. Big old weight, just flipping rig. I'm a creature hog, Birkin creature hog.
So Matthew, actually, the guy I was just talking about, said he committed to KCU. So you guys should link up, and if you have any tips, you guys should share them to me because I'd love to be able to catch fish.
Leave it up. That right there come from KCU. Well, most of them did, other than 2. Whatever, his camera's messing me up. They're somewhere back
there. That's awesome. So, it still to me is crazy to think about, a local guy, and so that's one thing that's so crazy about this area is that, man, we live in the armpit of America for bass fishing. Yep. And I think that has a lot to do with a lot of people around this area that are just absolute freaking hammers, man. Like, if you go to Yatesville on any given Sunday or Saturday and you fish the bait shop tournament, man, there's an opportunity that you go there and somebody catches 20 pounds at Yatesville. And it's crazy to think about. So I think that a lot of, building these quality anglers that we see in this area, the Chris Malones who won the, the FLW Toyota Series Championship down on Cumberland, $250,000 payday. These guys, and, Matt is now obviously in the realm there now. But it's like you fish against these people, and it's like, you grind to catch 5 fish. I feel like in our area, if you put 5 keepers together in any tournament, I don't care if they're 2 pounds apiece, you got a chance of winning any tournament that's in this area.
Yeah, I've said that probably 1,000 times that I'm actually grateful from where I'm from for bass fishing, just because how it's made me grind all the time. Like I feel like in grinder tournaments, I have a big advantage because I've had to do it every time I've ever went fishing in my life. Like I've never been I ain't been from Florida going out there just flipping up 8-pounders all the time. Because I feel begging for a 15-incher.
Yeah, no, I mean that's crazy to think about. Like, and then there's been on the opposite end of things. Like Kyle and I, my best friend Kyle and I, were fishing a tournament at Yatesville. It's been like 7-8 years ago. He throws a finesse jig into these rocks and ends up catching like a 6-pounder. And at that point, it was one of the biggest fish I've ever seen caught out of Yatesville. And we're like, got the big head, and we go, we're like, man, we got big fish wrapped up for sure. And there's probably a chance that we win this whole tournament with 1 fish. And then we go back, and our buddy Brandon Klein catches one over 7 pounds, which is still to this day the biggest fish I've ever seen weighed in at Grayson or Yatesville. Like personally seeing it, it was crazy. Like, and I think it's just crazy that if you go out and you think that you're going to catch 5 fish a day, you better be on them around here. Is the only thing I can tell you.
Yatesville's it's kind of starting to show out a little bit. This year, I've caught some pretty good bags out of that place. Cameron Dial's been going on a tear down there. He's been catching a lot of big bags. It's, I don't know what it is, but they're getting good.
Yeah, so I forgot Cole was actually Tyler's partner. So I said Tyler had a 7-pounder, and Cole said his nuts catching the fish. Tyler told me, he's like, man, he said, we were just cruising up through there, and he said, I looked over, and he said, I saw this big shadow, and he said, I thought it was a carp or something. He said, so I threw a fluke over there to it, and he said, next thing I know, that fish eats it. And he said, and he's like, I set the hook, and he said, well, I fought that thing all over the boat. It was 7-pounder, which is crazy. And I think, we were having a conversation, JR and I, that live scope has changed fishing anywhere, no matter where you're at. But I think that's how people are catching these giant bags at Yatesville is getting around fish where they know that they're staying around, and then just live scoping to find them. The fish are staying there, but they don't mean they're in an exact location. But one of the things that I thought about that I didn't think about live scope is that, it's kind of like the hot button issue right now. Everybody wants to talk about live scope, and everybody wants to say, oh, is FLW or BASS, are they going to ban this stuff? But this past weekend or 2 weeks, last weekend, it actually really brought something to the service that I never thought about. I have 2 buddies that are both fishing co-angler for the BFL regional. And one of them was at Del Hollow Lake, super deep lake. It's 70, 80 foot in the channel, maybe deeper in some spots. And it's not unheard of to catch fish in 40, 50 foot of water. But 2 guys that I know, one guy was fishing Eufaula, and the very first day his guy wasn't live scoping. He ended up catching 5 and was finished like 13th, or was in 13th place after day 1 as a co-angler. Next day goes out with a boater live scoping, and he blanked. And then down at Del Hollow, the same thing was true. There was like 160 boats and 100 co-anglers blanked. And that was one of the biggest things that people were talking about, is that, the boaters were live scoping these fish, which, as would I, if I owned live scope. I understand that aspect of it. It does allow you to catch fish, but it's something I've never thought of as a co-angler, where if your boater is following a school of fish around on a bait ball, you have the potential that you may, depending on what the water setup's like, you may not have the opportunity to cast at any fish the whole day.
Yeah. Live scope is, it's an awesome tool, but it's not, everybody acts like you just buy a live scope and it's over. You just catch it. It's not that. And I do like scoping a little bit, but I'm more of a shallow guy, and it's making shallow fishing a lot better because there's a lot of pressure getting took away from them fish. Like, there's not near as many people beating the banks now as there was before scope. You don't need it. You don't have to have it. It's not a necessity to compete. I didn't turn it on one time in Florida.
Yeah. So just as you said, it's all about it's situational technology, in my opinion. Yeah. Again, you go to Del Hollow this time of year, I feel like if you don't have it, you're at a severe disadvantage, because these fish are chasing these giant balls of shad and bait everywhere, and you could be in 70 foot of water, but these fish are in 10, but chasing that bait ball around. And that's the deal. And I am not against live scope. I think that I'm on the same boat as you, Matt. I feel like that, there's a time and place for it. And I'm also with you where everybody thinks that it's kind of like that, that button, you hit it, and as soon as you turn the power on, fish will start jumping in your boat. But it did kind of raise some wow, that would suck if I was in that situation last weekend when I had a buddy. He said I was in 13th. He said out of 160 co-anglers, he said then my guy goes out live scoping in 60 foot of water, and he said here I am throwing a Carolina rig at whatever I could feel on the bottom, and he said I never got bit all day. He said,
I've been in that situation this year that I was scoping and I had a co-angler, and it sucks. I hate doing it, but you have to in that situation, and it does definitely put the co-angler that you draw to a big disadvantage.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not looking down on any boaters for doing that, because I'm a technology guy. I teach technology at a local high school here. So if anybody gets technology, it's me. And I think that technology is a great thing. I think I'll eventually own. I'm a Humminbird guy through and through. I think their down scan and side scan are second to none. Their forward facing sonar is if there was 1st through 10th, there would be number 12 or something. That's how bad I think it is. But eventually, you know, once they upgrade that, I'll try to get it because I think there's a situation for everything. But, you know, it's really tough as a boater, I'm sure, is that you're there to win the tournament, right? It's not about feelings, and it's not about, you're not there to guide your co-angler. They're just in, you know, it's kind of luck of the draw.
Yeah, that's
Catch them up
definitely
shallow. Be a man. Mark Hickey, what's up, buddy?
That's what I'm talking about.
I forgot to call you last night. I'm not gonna lie to you. I told you I would call you and then I didn't. So there's that. I guess. Well, I'll call you. I'll call you tomorrow after work. We'll see what's up.
Welcome to the club, Mark. Gosh.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, I wish I didn't get so many phone calls a day. It's crazy, but it's all good. It's, you know, it's when it's when you run an OnlyFans. That's a lie. Come on.
Yeah.
All right. So take us through the tournament, Matt. So you, Harris Chain of Lakes, you go down there. You told us before the show that you've been down there one other time, and you won that tournament too, correct?
Yeah.
So 2 tournaments, Harris Chain of Lakes, and you won both of them, including a Bassmaster Open. I feel like it's probably time to move to the Harris Chain, huh?
Yeah, I fished 3 of them. I got beat once, but
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But
With
Harris Chain, I mean, me and my brother in a college tournament, we set the record down there for like the 2-day weight, whatever, and 1-day weight. We had 36 pound on day 2.
Wow.
So it's it had some history down there. And last time we was running around graphing. I mean, we put 60 hours on the boat in practice and found 2 schools, whatever, thinking it was offshore deal. And then this time I mean, my trolling motor's hung up the whole time, and I'm flipping and throwing a buzz bait. So.
Yeah. So Cole said, "What's Matt's buzz bait setup?"
It's a 1/4 ounce white Boogerman buzz bait. It's the best
Boogerman.
one.
That's, man, I tell you what, old Boogerman's got some stuff going on because Chris Malone won the that Toyota series on the booger spin, I think.
Boogerman.
Yeah. So what kind of rod and reel setup are you throwing?
I was 7.3 medium heavy with a Revo SX and 65 pound X5 braid.
Yeah, I'm a braid guy too, man. I think it takes less effort to keep the bait on top of the water. A lot of people throw monofilament. And me, I like braid because, especially if you're throwing like something. So this past weekend, we were talking about Yatesville. I went to Yatesville and talked to a buddy of mine, Bailey McKinney, who works at the tackle box. And he told me that he found some fish in this one pocket, and I stayed off of the pocket all day until it was like noon or 12:30 before I was going to leave. And I was like, well, if he's here, because he told me he's going to fish, and I was like, if he's here, he'll probably have already hit that, but I'm going to go in there and check it out anyway. So I was throwing a bone white spook, and I'm telling you what, dude, I got blown up by some guy. It was the biggest fish I've ever seen blow up on a topwater bait in my life in Yatesville. I couldn't tell how big it was. I film all my stuff, obviously, because of my YouTube channel, but I can't see it because I'm in between it. But man, you can hear it, and it sounds like an absolute shotgun went off. But it was pretty crazy that, you know, topwater in Yatesville is working that way. But I was throwing on braid as well, and I throw my topwater baits a little differently than most people. I throw mine on a 7-power crankbait rod. It's a Shimano, or it's a G Loomis IMX Pro 847 C crankbait rod, which is it's pretty amazing. But I think throwing that topwater like walking bait, being able to have no stretch in that line allows me to stop the bait and then continue on with my retrieve effortlessly.
Yeah, I just I mean, the braids definitely, I don't throw any mono. And I like throwing a braid on a buzz bait. I like to hit them where they I like to hammer them. Like, it's that's a bait that I'm not really fighting fish with. Like, I'm setting the hook in as fast as I can make them hit the carpet most of the time they're coming. So
I use my same rod for buzz bait and for frog fishing because it's the same similar bite. You just whack them as hard as you can. You know?
Retied them like 5 times this week in Florida, cutting a buzz bait off, tying a frog on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man. So you go into day one weigh in. How much weight did you have?
24.6.
24.6. That's you go into any tournament like, and you're talking about in Florida, obviously. I mean, a 25-pound bag is a big bag, but in Florida, you probably went in thinking that you had a mediocre sack at that point.
Yeah, I was not expecting to be leading, which it was tough down there this time. Lakes were turning over, and it was the toughest I've ever seen it. It was really brutal to get on anything to just get like consistent quality bites. It was kind of just, I really junk fished my way into it pretty much. I started on one lake, caught a 3 and a 3.5, and then mine went through a canal, decide what lake I'm going to go to next, and like an hour run, go over, stand up, flipping pads, and catch a 7.14, like a 3-pounder, turn around, go to a pad I just now flipped, catch a 7.2, then run back. Like it looked a lot better on paper. I went and caught 5 of them. I was just junk fishing around. Didn't really know what I was even going to do when I blasted off. I just went and fished how I felt.
Yeah, man. Dance with the girl that brought you, right? Yeah. So, like we have a little different view of a 7-pounder, I think. Around this area, I've never caught a 7-pounder.
Yeah.
But you go down there and you set the hook on this 7-pounder, you like have to be on top of the world, because a 7-pounder to me, if I got a 7-pounder, even in Florida, I'm looking at this thing thinking it weighs 10 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
this time of year, that 7.14 I had was long. It was not the heaviest bass I've ever caught, but it was without question the like biggest bass I'd ever caught. It was a brute.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably talking
3 pounds heavier.
10-pounder. Yeah, we're talking 10-pounder in the springtime, or in the spawn, which is crazy. So you run back in, you weigh in, there you are, top of the leaderboard. To me, I don't like to think that I would, but I think I would. It would be very tough to like not spin myself out. I feel like that you see a lot of people talking about how it's easier to lose it from first than it is to win from like 10th.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really have no reason to spin myself out was my thing, because I was really, if I would have went and caught 15 pound, I would have come in and been like, good day. Like, caught them better than I thought I was going to today. So when I caught 24, I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I figured something out. They're there. I was over there flipping, and there's 7-pounder blowing up into pads all over the place. Like I was so confident that I was going to be able to go over and catch them again that I really wasn't that worried about it.
Straight back to that spot over and over again. Then 2 7s out of 1 pad.
Yeah. Now I didn't even. I blasted off day 2, and I had to go through a lock to get to that lake. So I was about 130 or 140 something or something like that. So I didn't even go over there to start. I just wanted to go start new, pick up a booger man buzzbait and go cover some water. So I started on a different lake and ended up catching a 6-pounder before I even go. So then I'm like, like it's on.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like, so I did see some footage of the opens. Obviously, I was watching it there, watching you guys live. But that Milliken was like hour and a half in a lock before he even casted the first line, which I think is is big on your part to think, hey, I'm boat whatever. I'm gonna have to get to these lakes. There's going to be a backed up number of boats, so why not go over here and attempt to catch a fish, because I'm going to be waiting anyway, and you can't catch them without a line in the water. So you go over there and catch a 6-pounder, and then you're immediately like that has to give you a little bit of a shot in the arm as far as like your ego and your I guess your mindset at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I catch a 6 and I'm thinking, all right, I've been fishing for 15 minutes. I got a 6-pounder in a live well, and I caught 2 7s on a different lake yesterday. So it was, I mean, I was late boating over, like I said, so I didn't have to be in until like 5 o'clock. So at the time I had like 10 hours left, and I really just needed to feel somewhat of a decent limit, and I was going to win the Joker. So I was fired up about it.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I would be feeling at that point, but I also know that I would have to have like, I would have to going into weigh in and knowing that I had a shot to win this thing and make the Bassmaster Classic. Like I would have to do everything that I could possibly do to not fall over and have like a heart attack. Because I would be like so amped up.
I'm so competitive that I came in there, and to be honest with you, the fact that it was an open or the classic deal or all that, it kind of just slipped my mind. I just wanted to beat everybody so bad. Like I just wanted to win. That was all I was thinking about.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, for everybody. We ask a lot of people this, and everybody that we have on our show, we always have one question that we ask everybody, and one of those, the question is, if you were fishing anywhere, anytime, any place, obviously we're bass fishing, so we're talking about smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass. If you could never fish another bait the rest of your life, or you could only fish another bait for the rest of your life, what bait are you choosing?
Has to be a Berkeley flipping jig. It's my favorite jig, and a jig is, in my opinion, about the most versatile bait out there without getting away from the big fish potential that it carries. Anywhere in the country you go, you can throw a jig. If you want to just grind out with a jig, you can find a way to get bit on it. I don't care where you're at.
Yep. So the jig is very, very good. Mark Hickey, if he's on here, he'll tell you his favorite bait's the jig too. I think my go-to, not ever leave home without a bait, would actually probably be a jig, but I would say the bait that I find myself throwing the more often than not is going to be some sort of smaller Texas rig. It's going to be like 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce weight, 4/0 offset shank worm hook. I've been using the Jackal chunk crawl a lot lately. I caught 5.5 out of Yatesville the other day on it. Actually catches fish. I mean, just hammers them. But I feel like you got a chance to catch a fish on a Texas rig or a jig anytime of the day or any time of the year. Jared, what's a bait you're not leaving without?
You know what I'm going to say, man? It's got to be a drop shot. Got to be a drop shot.
JR is like the Midwest finesse fisherman that never made it to the Midwest.
Bro, I mean, it catches fish. I mean, if you give me one thing and say you have to pick one thing to catch a fish with, it's going to be a drop shot.
Yeah, that's not me, man. Like if somebody told me I can only fish one rod and reel the rest of my life, I would not pick a fairy wand. It would have to be. I'm talking like something that's like 5-6 power. Got the rod's this big around, and when I set the hook, the fish is either going to come out of the brush pile or I'm going to break my rod. That is it.
Yeah.
Like there's no option, no difference there. Corey says, "I know I like this, man. Jig is the only answer."
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I get it. So next question is, what is a bait that you feel like is overrated? And I'll start this conversation with my overrated bait that I think is overrated is the Whopper Plopper. I just think it's overrated.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 100% in on the Whopper Plopper too. I don't catch them on that thing. Can't ever catch them on it, really. I've actually kind of caught some on it this year, but for this year, I struggled. Like, I never caught any bass, period, on it. But most of the time, I was throwing a Booger Man buzzbait. So,
yeah. So, I mean, maybe that's my problem is I have no confidence in it. And if I'm throwing something that, what's the difference between that and a buzzbait? Like, just the profile. But nowadays, everybody's throwing like toads or even swim baits on the back of their profile or back of their buzzbait, usually. So there's really no difference in it. So I guess it's probably a thing in my head. If I fished it enough, I would probably catch fish. But I throw it about 8 times a day, and I'm like, man, this thing sucks. And I tie it on a buzzbait, and I make the next cast and catch a fish, which I could have probably caught on the Whopper Plopper, but I tied it, I cut it off and put the buzzbait back on.
Well, you can throw it buzzbait in heavy cover, whereas a Whopper Plopper is getting hung up every time. I mean, that's me too. I want to throw a buzzbait all day in comparison to a Whopper Plopper that gets hung up on one twig and gone.
Shots fired, JR.
No, man. What the heck?
Shots fired.
Well, let's go to St. Clair and we'll talk about the drop shot.
Well, I mean, yeah, but so it's situational there. Like, if I don't know that if I wanted to catch fish 100% of the time going out, and if I could possibly do it, because it's absolutely brutal to fish, but I can almost guarantee there's probably some made up statistic out there somewhere. And, because 97% of all statistics are made up, right? That's what they say anyway. I don't know, probably made up. But I think if I just made that statistic up, by the way. I don't know that if I wouldn't throw a wacky rig, man. Wacky rig catches fish. Like, it is brutal to fish unless you know you're fishing where fish is at or fish are. But I feel like there's been 100 times in my career as a mediocre fisherman, I'll be in a fishing tournament and need one more fish, and I put down every other bait in my boat, and I'll pick up a wacky rig, and I live and die by that thing. And 9 times out of 10, I'm able to catch that 5th fish on that thing.
Yeah.
No, see, I'm kind of the opposite of you there. Where I want one more, I pick up a jig and try to catch a 5-pounder. I mean, that's just the way I'm wired. I like catching.
Well, I think we're going
that I'm trying not to catch big ones.
Yeah. Well, we're talking more about what's our confidence. What's our confidence in?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I just think that the Whopper Plopper is something. First off, I own one, and it's been in my box in my boat since like the day I bought it. The hooks are rusted on it. Like, I couldn't catch fish on it if I wanted to now, but if I want to pick something up, it's going to be a buzz bait or some kind of walking style bait. Like, my favorite topwater bait of all time is like, a pop R. Like, I feel like those things is smash fish. That comes from me, like walking around strip mine ponds as a kid, right? Throwing around like on a Berkeley cherrywood with like a Zebco spinning rod on like 25-pound monofilament, the like Berkeley clear or the Stren clear blue. That's like, it just looked cool back in the day, but was for night fishing, but I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean? But that pop R catches them. So, going back to the classic, I don't mean to keep harping on the classic, but we have, kind of threw Matt, under the gun here and asked him what his number one song would be to come out. And like, to me, first off, making it would be extremely hard. It's easy for me to know what song I'm going to come out to because I would come out to my own single, right? That's just only fitting. It's like Casey Ashley, right? It would be like Casey Ashley coming out to somebody else's song. Like, it's not going to happen. So it would be easy for me. I mean, it's a mediocre song at best, but it's easier for me to do that. But I think, like, if I didn't have that single, I would probably lose sleep at night trying to figure out what song I'm coming out to.
I sat in the truck yesterday for like an hour and a half in my driveway with my brother, just jamming, just listening to different songs, trying to figure something out. We got the prospects are listed. They're going down. We're going to see.
Yeah, you agree on the same song, probably,
Yeah, that or you guys probably have two totally different opposite. Like, you got to use this one. Like, no, that song sucks. Favorite is a Vixen. Lost a barely legal Vixen at Galpless Dam this weekend. Whopper Plopper was made to catch fishermen, in my opinion. And that is a good way to look at it. It caught me. I think that bass lures are made to catch all fishermen before it is fish. And that's a great topic there because this year coming up, I'm going to create a YouTube video series talking about old school baits and how, do they catch fish anymore? Like, for example,
that, man.
Right here, this bait is probably twice as old as anybody in this, the 3 people talking here, but like this old school bluegill style bait, this is a Heddon. And obviously, Heddon baits were crazy good. This is a pumpkin seed. Now, you get that right. A genuine Dowagiac lures, handmade. This thing is probably, Like, but my question is like, or my thought is this, is that baits catch more fishermen in this aspect. For example, Berkeley Call Shad just come out. Everybody's been trying to get their hands on it. Matt Robertson has had a lot of luck with it over the past few, 3 months or so since it's been throwing it. It just hit the shelf at the tackle box. I went and bought 2 of them. Like, it's like the newest best thing that somebody says they caught fish on. I am the world's worst about picking a couple of them up to see if they're all that, what it's all cracked up to be. But you think about baits like I don't know, think of something like the jitterbug, right? The jitterbug was like the buzzbait before the buzzbait was the buzzbait. And like I know for a fact you can go out there and throw a jitterbug and still catch a fish, but we never do it.
That Berkeley Cole Shad, you done yourself a favor on that. I think it's bad in the bottom.
Yeah, so I think I brought the wrong collars. I bought the chartreuse one, the chartreuse shad or whatever, because the chartreuse shad swim baits are one of my favorite collars ever. So I catch a lot of fish on that. Water at Yatesville the other day when I was throwing it was really clear. So I have the Morning Dawn minnow too, I think, and I didn't realize the tail of it was absolutely so clear. It's like almost see through. So it doesn't have. I mean, it would be epic for really gin clear water, but it just wasn't that the other day. So I'm going to pick up a couple more. I think. I just wasn't. I didn't do enough research before I bought them. I didn't realize that you had to nail weight those things to get them to sink.
Yeah, I mean it's like a slow sink. Whatever. Most of them I don't throw with a nail weight in it, but throwing them with nail weight it can be money. Like if you're fishing anything like marina docks or even live scupping with it, it's they always get down there to them.
Yeah, so that's one of the few weight styles that I don't own in my boat. That's what I was saying the other day. It was pretty crazy. And I'm gonna share a video clip with you guys in just a second. This past weekend at Yatesville was one for the books for me, not for the simple fact that I caught a ton of fish. Matter of fact, I'm not going to share it tonight because it's not about that, but it's on my video that's going to be released tomorrow. But the cool thing about it is, man, I heard a song going out to Yatesville. Again, I'm a musician. I love music. And I heard a song called, it's by a guy named Radney Foster. It's called Angel Flight. And it's talking about this pilot who brings home the bodies of, deceased servicemen and women, and it's like one of the craziest songs. And we have a Veterans Day assembly at my school every year, and we always pick some songs and play them for that. So we were talking about playing that this year, and it just came on the other day. But I was talking literally introducing my show or my video for that day, and was talking about how I was proud to be an American and thankful for all the servicemen and women that put their lives on the line for me to do what I do, which is teach high school and fish mediocrely. And then I looked in the trees, and there's a bald eagle that come flying by my boat, like all in this 5-minute stretch of my life was like, I was like, I'd caught 2 fish at that point. I was like, I don't care if I catch a fish the rest of the day. It was just like, it made my absolute day. It was crazy. So you say that you fish Yatesville a lot. What's the biggest fish you ever caught out there?
I don't really know the exact weight on it. It was 6, like right at 6.5. I don't really remember the exact weight. It was actually decent a little bit ago. I don't remember how many years, but it's been a minute.
I got you. Guys, we're at about that 45-minute mark, so we don't going to keep Matt up all evening. He's got better stuff to do. So if you have any questions for Matt, drop them in the comments below. But Matt, do want to tell you thank you from myself for coming on and spending the last 45 minutes with us. Congratulations on one of, I hope it's not your biggest accomplishment. I hope you go out there and smash the Bassmaster Classic and go on to the elites or whatever you plan to do after that, and show them what the area of that part of Kentucky is about. Anything that I could do to help you out, obviously, which is not a lot, but if you ever need anything, definitely give us a shout. We'll definitely have you, have your back. But what I would like to do, if possible, is maybe if you have some time, which I'm sure you may or may not, but after during the Bassmaster Classic, maybe we can get you on that week or the week following prior to talk about it then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's all the big deer at, Mark? Nobody hunts around here, dude. Get the hell out of here.
It's fishing season.
That's right. Is it ever not fishing season?
I've got a few big ones on camera, but they're getting kind of pushed to the side right now. They're kind of.
Yeah, I mean, dude's wearing I see the antlers on his shirt, so the dude definitely.
Buck bass.
Yeah, oh, buck and bass. I see it now. Yeah. So, I got some big deer on camera too. I just don't hunt them. The biggest thing is when you kill a deer, that's when the work starts. Like, it's not easy to kill one. Now, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, after you put in all the work to kill the deer, that's when the real work starts. Dragging it out and cutting it up and dealing with all the meat and eating. It's the easy part because I love venison. But yeah, so anyway, like I said, Matt, I appreciate it. And it doesn't look like anybody has any more comments or questions for you. So again, here on another line, we wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you go out there and smash them. There's probably usually I'm at the Bassmaster Classic working some sponsor booths and stuff. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that this year since it's out in Oklahoma. But if I'm out that way, obviously you hear something crazy, somebody screaming your name in the audience, it might be me, who knows, but go out there, and do what you said you're going to do, man. Fish to win that dang thing. Bring it home to Kentucky, and maybe I can come down and see a Bassmaster Classic trophy within 100 miles of my house.
Yeah, I hope you get there.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yep, but I appreciate you boys having me on here.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I appreciate you spending the last 45 minutes. It's been good. Wait a minute. We have one more question here. I missed it. Mark, did you put this up here? JR, I missed it. Mega bass lures made to catch fishermen, or do they give you an edge above the rest? I'll just speak from my personal opinion. Some of the mega bass stuff I absolutely love. I like the jerk baits. I do fish them a lot. I fish Jacko jerk baits as well. I don't feel like their jerk baits are head and shoulders above anything else like everybody else does. I do think some of their baits are freaking amazing. Like their jerk baits, like I said, are really good. I also like their dark sleeper, which doesn't get talked about a lot up north, up around Lake St. Clair and stuff. The dark sleeper just kills. What's your thoughts on that, Matt?
I mean, there's not really – they make good baits. I've caught a lot of bass on mega bass, but also – feel like I went to the Berkeley Stunner or Stun Up and caught just as many, if not more. So I don't really know about the pricing, jacking up the price higher on them and stuff, but I mean, it's all preference. It's whatever a man's got confidence in, he can catch them. That's one of the biggest things in fishing is just knowing what you're doing right, having confidence in what you're doing, and just really getting to the point where you're not only liking a bait, but you fish with it so much that you're doing little different things to it that's making it do stuff, and just learning how to really get good at one brand's bait instead of just jumping around thinking one's just got ultimate bass catching power or something.
Yeah, and you said it's all about confidence, man. I think if you've been I swear to God, I've been to tournaments and I've had people whip my rear end with a Zebco with like a K&E worm. It's all about what you have confidence in, and it's all about having fun. I say fish what you can afford, fish what you enjoy. I don't care if it's a Zebco. That's the gateway fishing or gateway drug of fishing is a Zebco 33 Classic. Everybody's had one. Everybody's lost them. I guarantee you, like you could take a Zebco 33, dig it out of a pond somewhere, like Jason Voorhees has been fishing with for the last 20 years. Throw some WD-40 on that thing and new line, and you're probably going to catch a fish with it within the hour.
I love the Stunner. Speaking of, it's a great jerk bait.
My roommate faced you last year.
Really? That's cool, man. Yeah, but like I said, man, about 50 minutes in. Appreciate your time. Again, if you need anything, let me know. There's nothing that we can do as far as whatever. But obviously, but we'll stay in touch. And I'd love to have you back on either before or after the Classic or both. So get out there, man. get your head right between now and then, and go bring that daggone thing home to Kentucky.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
All right, guys. So you guys know the routine. Appreciate you guys sticking around for this live episode of On Another Line between JR and I. Matt Messer here. If you guys are just now joining us, make sure you go back. This is a live version, obviously, but when we stop live, you can go back and watch the entirety of this episode. It's been a good time talking to Matt Messer, who again is the Bassmaster Open champion for the Harris Chains of Lakes and qualified for the 2024 Bassmaster Classic. He's going to go win that thing. And with that being said, if you guys can get out there and lean on them, we'll see you next time. Close enough. Guys, get out there and lean on them. We'll see you next time on Another Line.